Hey, what's up, you guys? The Black Moon here. I'm here to disseminate some information today. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. Today we're going to be talking about ritual, which is one of the most important assets of the High Priestess. Okay, I'm going to be doing a lot of reading because I want to stick as close to the data as possible, close to the facts as possible. Okay, so in accordance to dictionary.com, ritual is defined as any practice or pattern of behavior regularly performed in a set manner. And this here is just a general or basic definition. There were a couple of others, but I want to try to stray as far away as I can from religion because just to be fair to everyone. All right. Now, as we proceed, we also find out that ritual is a medium where the transformative powers of the High Priestess are expressed. It's a prescribed way of reaching a goal or simply completing a task. We come to find out when we do a ritual, we blend corresponding chemicals, scents, colors, elements, and other materials together under the administration of our true intent. And when we do this, we give form to whatever it is that we seek to manifest. Whatever it is that we manifest in the physical realm is the result of ritual. Now, when we conduct a ritual, we're also aligning the conscious up with the subconscious, which creates a path of energy to flow, unobstructed. Okay, so there are no blockages. We don't have the conscious going one direction and the subconscious going another direction. They're both aligned up perfectly, so that way when energy flows, it goes all the way through, from the conscious to the subconscious and back again. Now, when both these aspects, the conscious and the subconscious, are unified, we're then able to manifest results that affect our mental, spiritual, emotional, material, and physical environment favorably in the best interest of everyone who's involved. Ritual is also a means of invoking and communicating with ancestral forces, unknown spirits of the dead, as well as deities. A lot of us don't know, but whether we're religious or not, whether we're working in the occult or not, there are some basic rituals, domestic rituals that we perform on a daily basis. And some of these basic examples are cooking. Before we cook a meal, we decide what it is that we're going to cook. We gather our materials together. We bring them together and we come up with something delicious. Some of us come up with something very delicious after the fact. Cleaning is also a ritual. You understand? Sex is a ritual. Sex can also be seen as a death ritual, believe it or not. Dancing is a ritual. Prayer is a ritual. Funerals and burials are rituals. The performing of a wedding or religious rites such as communion in Christianity is also a ritual. That's just to give you some basic ideas. I'm sure that you can name many more. Now, the main component of ritual is planning. The first thing that we need to do is set a goal. What is it that we seek to achieve? The next thing that we need to do is to meditate, or in other words, go beyond the veil. When we do this, we are able to intuit the underlying structure that's needed to help reach our goals. Because we don't simply just make it up. We have to sit and we have to meditate and we have to see what it is that the ancestors want us to do. They will tell us exactly what it is that they want us to do, how they want to be served. What actions are required to reach your goal? What do we need to do to reach the goal? Okay? The next thing we need to do is gather all the materials, gather all the data, gather all the information, all the elements that are needed to help facilitate this goal. And you want to take all your actions, everything, and you want to place it in a schedule. What is the best time to do this ritual? What is the best date? You know? The last thing that you do after you've got all of these things together, now you can go ahead and carry out your intent. You can follow through with your plan. Some may ask, when is the best time to do a ritual? Anytime. Anytime is a good time to do a ritual. Especially if you are experiencing some form of conflict in your life. The key factor to consider is whether or not one will be invoking or evoking as a means to communicate with spirit. Okay? Invoking would be enlivening the deity within you. Evoking would be awakening the deity outside of you. We all have our personal preference, how we'd like to do it. I used to evoke, where I would awaken the deity outside of me. Well, I'm not going to say I used to. I want to say I did it a couple of times during my inexperienced days. And because I wasn't really aware of what I need to do to control the deity, it kind of like backfired on me. But I'm still here today, so it didn't go that bad. But I did get some negative effects from that. So the one thing you need to understand, whatever it is that you awaken, you need to know how to put it back to sleep if necessary, or you need to know how to control it when you're doing evocations. Me, I prefer invocation. I do a lot of invocations. Okay, another reason to do a ritual is if you just want to simply honor the dead. Okay, a few years back, I remember I used to pour libation every morning outside. I pour hot coffee or water in honor of the Deity spirits. But then once I decided I wanted to invoke Papa Gede. And I went out and I drew the V and everything, and used the cornmeal. And as soon as I concluded the ritual, my daughter's father showed up. I didn't think nothing of it at first, you understand? But then I conducted the ritual again sometime later. And as soon as I finished, he showed up again. I question everything, even little things. Why I fart like that, or why my fart smell like that. You know, I question everything. So immediately I went to my cards and I questioned spirit. You know, why is he showing up every time I complete my ritual? And it wasn't until then that I realized that his spirit is dominated by an unknown deceased. Okay, an unknown spirit of the dead, which at that point started to open my eyes up to a lot. I started to understand a lot. It explained a lot of things. Okay, so moving right along. Let's see. Another time we will want to perform ritual is when we need assistance in overcoming an obstacle. This also brings me back, it makes me think about when I first started doing rituals. And I remember I was in my bedroom and I was doing a ritual. I didn't have any specific person that I was doing a ritual, any specific deity that I was doing a ritual for. I want to say that I was honoring my ancestors. I wasn't asking for anything specific. I was just conducting a ritual in honor of my ancestors. And lo and behold, as soon as I lit the candles, my bedroom door slammed shut. And I remember my daughter, who is 17 now at the time, couldn't have been no more than 8 or 9. Me and her both, we looked at each other and we was like, what the hell? But I just took that as confirmation of my ritual, the acknowledgement of my ritual, the acceptance of the offering that I was giving. It didn't scare me. It didn't freak me out. If anything, it made me feel more secure with my work. Okay? Another time to conduct a ritual, as I said before, is just whenever you're experiencing any type of conflict. You know, like, you know, when you get a cold, you know, one of the things you may do when you get a cold, you may take a lemon, you may cut the lemon up, you may blend it, you may boil it. After you boil it, you may add honey, and you drink it. That's a ritual. That's a ritual that you're performing as a means to heal yourself. You understand? You can get very simple with rituals, and you can become very complex with them. It all depends on you. It's important to consider a couple things when conducting a ritual. As I said before, you want to consider the deity that you're working with if you choose to work with any specific deity. In this instance, one must consider deity associations such as the time, the day, colors, any scents, any specific elements or foods that they like. Anything that corresponds with them. You know, you want to take all these things into consideration when you're doing a specific ritual to a deity. You also want to consider what you like to see happen. In this instance, please use logic, everybody. Please, 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 please use logic. Make sure that whatever deity that governs your head is the deity that's guiding you in the setting up of this ritual. Okay? Don't just go out of the blue and move and set up something. Make sure that you have taken time, you have weighed all your options, you have done your research, you have communed with the dead, you have communed with the subtle world, and you realize exactly what it is that you need to do in order to get this ritual completed. You want to know that whenever you finish this ritual, that you are going to get the results that you're looking for. For instance, like if you go to a store or something like that and someone steps on your foot, you know, or let's say for instance someone speaks bad about you, someone you know, a friend of yours speaks bad about you, and it pisses you off to the point where you say, you know what, I'm going to do a death ritual for them. You do the death ritual for them and nothing happens. That's what I mean by using logic. Make sure that the punishment fits the crime, because whatever your intent is, if it does not align up with the intent of your ancestors, then it's not going to happen. And then at that point, you're going to start to doubt yourself. You understand? So it is better to always take your time, move slow, use reasoning, use logic, pay attention to your external environment for confirmations, concrete confirmations to let you know that you are on the right path. Okay? Because the ancestors will guide you if you listen. You have to listen to your intuition. And it has been my experience that sometime after your ritual has been conducted, sometimes it'll happen immediately after. It could happen 2 days later, a week later, as long as you're focused on it. You understand? But it's been my experience that sometime after the ritual has been completed, if it is accepted by the ancestors, they are going to show you some type of sign. You know, you may trip and fall. You know, it's crazy. Good things can happen, bad things can happen. But whatever happens, you know, if it brings your consciousness or your awareness back to your ritual, and you find yourself questioning whether or not if this was a message that confirms that your work was accepted, then more than likely that was the sign that you needed. It's advised that we remain cognizant, I can't stress this enough, that we remain cognizant of our environment in order to receive this message. Another thing, you want to make sure that you're very patient, okay? Our patience communicates understanding in the subtle world as well as respect for those who take the time to answer our call, okay? When we start to rush pushing our answers. Why this is not happening? Why? Believe it or not, you are delaying your own progress. When you do a ritual or a spell is a ritual because you're doing the same thing. When you do a ritual, you have to, after you have finished your ritual and you have discarded all of the materials, you have to also release the ritual. Release the energy and let it go to work. When you discard the materials, that's a message to the subtle world that you are releasing the issue in their hand to take care of for you, to carry out for you. You cannot keep calling it back. Whenever you start to reflect on this ritual and you're like, oh God, why is it taking so long and this and that, and that. You know what I'm saying? You're not really showing respect for the ancestors. And not only that, you are delaying, like I said before, you are delaying your own progress. All right. Now let's talk about the tools that we use in ritual. The tools that are used in ritual serve as a point of focus that aids in ordering the mental processes of the mind in such a way to help achieve a goal. They are not, let me say this again, they are not tools of idolatry. Nothing is being worshipped. In fact, many times these items are discarded after the ritual has been completed. It is there, they exist only to help you with focus. Okay? Let me see if I covered everything. There's more than one way to do a ritual. We can use tools, okay? But some of us have developed our psychic abilities to the point where we really don't use tools, okay? We are able to contemplate deeply and focus inward on what it is that we want to manifest and have it manifest without having to use any tools, okay? Neither way is better than the other. They both work. The thing is, what works for you, okay? What works for you may not work for me, and what works for me may not work for you. As long as we keep those things in mind, we will not be biased towards the way others do things. We will show a great deal of respect for the way that others ritualize. That concludes the lecture for today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, coming and checking me out. I'm happy. I hope you were satisfied with the information that was shared with you today, but even more so, I'm hoping that you can use this information to the best of your ability. I want to say thank you again for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, comment, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe. Thank you.